Hey, I'm going to welcome you back to another episode of the AWM NFL podcast. My name is Riccardo Stewart. I have the pleasure of being your host, and I'm joined with my friends and coworkers. On this podcast, we have over 20 years of NFL experience as well as financial expertise. We got Jeff Locke, who we call the professor, Zach Miller, who we call the truth, and then Sam Acho, who we call the mayor. Fellas, today I want to start maybe a 3-part episode, and we'll just do part 1 today. And talking about what it is that we do with our clients. And we like to say, and we don't hear anybody else saying this, especially as the only family office that's working with athletes, is that we take a human-centered approach. And when it comes to investing, when it comes to serving our clients, and I want to break down what does that mean and how do you begin to even have a plan to have a human-centered approach. And so I'm going to start first with you, Sam, put you on the spot, just real quick. When you hear the phrase a human-centered approach, what do you hear?
I hear a group of people that takes out the robotics from relationships. Oftentimes, whether you're a football player, collegiately, professionally, you see people who they say they care about you, but they don't actually care about you. So when I hear someone leading with human-centered, it means they're going to care about me on the field. They're going to care about me as a husband, as a father, as a leader in the community. And they're not just going to try and segment me into one piece or parcel.
Yeah, that's good. I think about some of the athletes we've talked to, some of the men we work with and their families. It's that many of them, they've been a part of some other organization and they were given, here's what you should invest in. Here's where your money should go. And they find that themselves, they get to a point where now they got 40, 50, 70, 80 million guaranteed contracts. And they're going, those same people are saying, here's what you should do with your money, but never asking them about the life that they want to live. And when we begin to talk about a human-centered approach, it's really saying, let's put the human. Let's start first from going, who's the human? Who is the athlete? Does he have a family? What does he want? What does he wish to have one day? What does he need? What life does he have envisioned? And once you're able to really, really find those things out, now you can take his wealth and align it to his priorities and keeping the human at the center. And so as we step back and talk more about what that looks like, let's boil it down and go on. Before you can even talking about investing, you have to get to know the human. And what we call this priorities is that we sit down with someone who's made $100 million and going, let's start first and let's look at your priorities and break it down into easy language, right? Needs, wants, and wishes. And so I'm going to kick it to you guys to talk more about what does that look like, and have in mind thinking about somebody that has already had an advisor, has already made money, has already been in the NFL. We're talking a 5-year plus vet, made over 50, 60, 80 million in their career. And they're sitting down and they're going, okay, this human-centered approach, these needs, wants, wishes, what does that even mean? And so Jeff, I'm going to start with you first. What are needs and why are they important to the athlete?
Yeah, needs are probably what you think they are. They're the things that have to happen no matter what happens with your preferences or your values over time. Your life is going to change, evolve as you get older, right? Certain things are going to change, but the needs are the things that got to happen. First one I always think about is, unfortunately, we got to pay the tax man, right? So your strategy is going to call for having some taxes withheld from your paychecks, but you might be making huge payments if you're set up correctly every April. So you got that. Then I think roof over my head, right? I got to have a place to live, the costs to support me and my immediate family where we live. And then just the costs of the basics, right? The fixed costs, the things that you got to have. Got to have the food, you got to pay for the kids' education, the things you actually need to happen no matter what. And it's extremely important to get those set first, because then that tells your team and tells your plan, now I got all this extra money, all these extra resources to put towards the other 2 categories, which these guys will talk about.
I like that. They kind of throw a little curveball at you, Jeff. Where does my emergency fund or where does my protective reserve, where does that fit in terms of the needs, wants, or wishes?
Yeah, it's definitely a need, right? We say this a lot to our clients, like one of our jobs is to think about worst case scenarios so you don't have to. You can go focus on being the best player you can be, being the best father you can be. So we plan for worst case, right? Your contract ends. You only get the guaranteed money left. That's fully guaranteed, right? Here's the protection we set in place to make sure you got what you need.
Okay, now that I got my needs, that bucket, they're all filled up. Now I get to the wants. These are some of the things that, like, yeah, I'd be kind of upset if I didn't get this, and I want to make sure I have it. So, Zach, I mean, you're a guy who, I don't want to say you have many wants, but I feel like you've got a lot of wants. So I feel like I'm in some like cheesy Drake video or something, like wants and needs or something like that. But what would be a want, Zach?
Well, now that I'm older, the wants definitely changed. So like paying for college for all 4 of my kids, like that's now a want for me. It's something it's important that I want to have happen. It's not a need because technically my kids could still get a loan, all those things, but it definitely falls into that bucket. And I made this mistake as an NFL player is everyone worries about what to invest in instead of what am I investing for? Like, what do I want that money to do? Like, what are my goals? And you will, I mean, as an NFL player, you will get enough money to get out of that, just satisfying those needs and that kind of essential things in life. And you get to the wants, the fun things, the things that if I don't accomplish them, for me as a player, that big body Mercedes, like I always wanted that. I didn't get it during my first contract. It was important to me. I waited till I actually won a Super Bowl, used my Super Bowl money, and that was my reward for that. And that's like the perfect example of a want. It's something you want to have. You know it's going to happen. You just don't know when. And if it didn't happen, you'd be disappointed. So those things change over time. Now it's things like private school and another good example is like buying your first house. Like that's definitely something that's pretty much, I think, on universally everyone's want list. Is it doesn't have to happen, but I mean it's important to everybody to buy a house, have a house, and then you play long enough. Sometimes you get that, what Sam's going to talk about is the more fun things, that second house or third house or cool house. So I mean there's a lot in that wants category. I mean it could be all the way from you're getting a boat, which eventually became a want, and then I got one. So that they just keep going. There's more wants the longer you live. And the other important thing is just to run your own race. And in the locker room, especially in different position groups, don't let someone else's wants be your wants. Like make sure that you're doing it not just to keep up with that locker room, keep up with the status quo of like, oh, I got this. So, or this other guy in the room got this. So now I need to one up him. It gets like that. So make sure you're running your own race.
Love it. I love it. Okay. Last, but definitely not least, looking dapper. First, you have to tell me what that A is on your suit there, man. Before we talk about wishes, I need to know what that A is for.
A lot of people see it. They think it's Alabama. I did not go to Alabama. I went to Texas. The A is for Acho. My wife picked it out, trying to up my game a little bit, get some lapels. The A is not for Bela. No, it's for Acho, my last name.
I should have known that, bro. I'm tripping. Here I was. I thought it was for Arizona State. So when it comes to wishes, Sam, what are some ideas or some examples for ultra wealthy NFL player of some wishes, and why does it matter? Why is it important?
Well, there are 3 examples that I've heard. These are players who I've talked to. One of them, one wish is this idea of, man, I want to go back home where I grew up and build a state-of-the-art facility for young kids who never got a chance to go and work out and go and train. I want them to have that opportunity that I wasn't afforded when I was younger. So that's more of a philanthropic type of wish. Another type of wish that's in that philanthropic vein is someone who's from the Texas area and said, man, I want to do more for the Boys and Girls Club in my neighborhood. I grew up going to Boys and Girls Club, so I want to actually figure out if I could maybe start a nonprofit or a foundation or maybe donate more money for those kids in my neighborhood where I grew up, even more nationally, to help and serve them. And then there are more of the personal wishes. Zach touched on it earlier. It's maybe it's not just the first home. Maybe it's building a custom home. I've got friends and colleagues here in Texas who have built custom homes on huge lots and lots and lots of land. And that's a wish. It may not be a need because you have a home. It may not be a want, but it's a wish. Man, I wish I could have this custom home, right? You go to this guy's home, see custom cars in that custom home. It could even be that second home or third home, that vacation home. I know me personally, right? My family, we go to Nigeria all the time. There's some wishes that I have of doing work overseas in Nigeria, building homes, doing business over there. So when I think about wants, needs, and wishes is that piece that goes beyond just what you need. Jeff talked about the clothes or the food or paying the tax man, or more than what Zach talked about is, oh man, I got my home, maybe that car. It's ideating and dreaming beyond. The reason why it's important, just to answer that question, is you've worked your whole career to get to this point. You've sacrificed so much to be able to be the best in the world at what you do. And you deserve people on your team, in your corner, who can help give you the blueprint of how to be the best in the world on things outside of what you do on the field and to be able to get what you deserve. So that's why wishes are so important.
I love it. But you've heard us say it before, and you heard us say it all the time. Money is just a tool, and it's to pay for the things that are important to you and bless the people in the community and the places that you love. In order for you to be able to make this money, and as an NFL athlete, you've already understood how to make it. It's now looking and going, okay, if I'm the human at the center, what are my priorities? You have to think about what are the needs that you have? What are the wants that you have? What are the wishes that you have? And then you take those priorities and you have your financial team begin to invest accordingly to that. Okay, this next episode that you're going to hear from us is, what does investing look like when it's according to someone's priority as opposed just to investing just for investing's sake? If there are any questions you have or any thoughts you have for us, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to us. Our number is 602-989-5022.
This has been a production of AWM Capital, the Athlete Family Office. Reach out to the team at athletefamilyoffice.com or by calling or texting 602-989-5022. All opinions expressed by the hosts are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of AWM Capital. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon in any manner as professional advice or an endorsement of any practices, products, or services. There can be no guarantees or assurances that the views expressed here will be applicable to any particular facts or circumstances and should not be relied upon in any manner. You should consult your own advisors as to legal, business, tax, and other related matters concerning any investment. Clients and employees of AWM Capital may maintain positions in the securities or companies discussed in this podcast.